the place that it all goes down on.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the TWSN Soccer Sit-Down Show. I'm Joe Camrota, joined with Christian DeBlock and Max Marrero. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Excited to talk some Champions League. And I know we're probably going to touch on a little Man City Spurs today, right, Joe?
Well, Man City Spurs, yes, and then that's going to touch into Arsenal. You know,
Oh,
a
yeah,
little top four fight.
All right, let's do it. How you doing, Christian?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. The weather, I'm sure, for Max is better than ours, Joe. Still,
the other day was beautiful. The other day was like 60 degrees.
There was a good day this week, but I'm sure Max's 60s and 70s down beneath us.
You're talking 70s, 80s, my friend. 60s are cold for us.
Max is gonna hit the pool today and watch City beat Spurs.
Good man now.
Good laps. But let's get underway. Let's start with some Champions League talk. And where do we want to start, guys? We could start a number of places. Obviously, we all know what the biggest match was. We could start with that, or we could go with one of the smaller matches, like Inter Liverpool. That was a pretty small match. No one cares about that game, right, Christian? Yeah, let's start there. Let's start there. Christian, I'm gonna kick it to you. How did you feel about the Liverpool win against Inter Milan?
Yeah, I think if anybody watched the match, Liverpool were not at their best. Really nowhere near their best. Inter really caused them some problems with the way they were playing, but really didn't do much with it. They had one chance from Çalhanoğlu, and looks like, Inter were going to, sit a little back in that match just because, it's the way they're set up with Inzaghi. But I thought once Jurgen made the changes about in the 60th minute, brought on Luis Diaz, Naby Keita came on, Jordan Henderson, all in that passage of play, and somehow the match was just completely changed. So pretty professional performance from Liverpool. I think they'll go through. I don't see Inter scoring 2 goals at Anfield in 3 weeks' time, but good for Liverpool. I think Inter, are not the best in the best of form at the moment. I know they've picked up a couple draws in the Serie A title race, which has made things a bit more interesting. But overall, a very good result for Liverpool, considering they were not at their best, which is what teams that look to make a deep run need to do when they're not playing necessarily with the best of form. So very good for Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what Christian was talking about. I think Liverpool were far from their best, but I think that game also proved why Liverpool are a force in this competition. And I think, they went against a team that did a good job of dominating possession and creating chances, but not really finishing off those chances. But Liverpool were just much more clinical, and I think that the quality of player on that team kind of just made the difference. And that's why they're going to be a threat for whoever they face because, this game proves, even if they're not at their complete tactical best, say Jurgen Klopp arguably got it a little bit wrong, the likes of Mo Salah, Bobby Firmino, even Sadio Mane, although he had a shaky game, they're going to put chances away if you even give them a sniff at goal. So that's the danger of Liverpool, and that's why they're a real team in this competition.
Yeah, and going off that, I think this game really, like you said, Max, proves why Liverpool might be one of the most dangerous teams in the competition. Even when they're, like you said, not at their best, they can't get their tactics right. They can't play that possession-based football that they're known for, where they can break teams down. Excuse me. They can still beat teams by getting plays on the break and scoring off a counterattack. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're going to take their opportunities no matter what. They have some of the most clinical players in the world. So it doesn't matter how they set up. They can still score. Like that's the problem. You got a keeper like Alisson, who's one of the best in the world. He's gonna do his thing. They still got a great defense, and the midfield. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of the Liverpool midfield. I don't like Hendo. I don't like Naby Keita. I don't like Thiago. But overall, they still seem to get it done all the time, and I think they're a real threat to go far in this tournament. And I think Inter Milan really squandered the chances for not being able to even get at least one. Like if they lose 1-0 or 2-1, so be it at that point. You can come back from a goal down, right? Like that's not too big. But 2 goals down to Liverpool doesn't choke 2-goal leads like that.
Well, and in Liverpool at Anfield, I don't
Yeah.
see Inter having a chance of getting back in this title.
Anfield's a little overrated. That's another conversation we need to have. It's the library.
Yeah, Max. He thinks Goodison Park is actually a more tough place to go in Liverpool.
I didn't say that. I just said Anfield. Anfield doesn't do much for me.
I mean, listen, maybe in a league match against, I'm not going to say Burnley, God forbid I disrespect them, but like Newcastle, it may not be the loudest game in the world. Like, they're going to chant their chants in the beginning, but dies down a little bit. I've noticed that too. But when it's a European night, Anfield is at its best and has honestly the most intimidating atmosphere in honestly the world, probably, or at least out of the major European nations or leagues. So I think Anfield is a very tough place to play.
Morata owns Anfield.
The only place Morata owned, to be fair.
I think he's playing. That's Morata's place. All right, let's move on to another match here. And actually, before we get to Champions League, I want to talk about something real quick. This is a total side conversation. Christian de Block, you're a fan of the Bundesliga, right? Bro,
I'm a fan of the sport of football.
You're a fan of Dortmund Football Club, and they lost 4-2 to Rangers. Well, here's the mic to talk about that. What the hell?
You're picking up on it. We're going from Champions League to Europa League. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go back. I wanted to ask you that before I forget.
And to be clear, to call me a fan of Dortmund, I just I like interesting title races. That's more of what it is.
It's the Bundesliga. There's no interesting title race in the Bundesliga.
I'm well aware. Dortmund have been a bit shaky, especially when Haaland's not been aside, which he was not. But yeah, I would certainly like to talk about that because losing 4-2 in a Europa League match at your own place, even though it's Rangers who are not the worst side, they've actually been very good over the last couple seasons, even without Gerrard there now. Yeah, that's disappointing, but there's not much to be said there. They have to play their second leg next week,
Haaland is out,
they're not going through.
Haaland's going to Real Madrid.
How Joe just pivoted to
that's an interesting way of pronouncing Manchester City.
Oh, brother. So actually, speaking of Manchester City, let's talk about them in the Champions League. Like we said last week, they were going to absolutely dominate Sporting, and they did with a 5-0 thumping of Sporting, and basically cemented their place in the quarterfinals. So, Max, let's go to you. What did you think?
I mean, you're never going to get me to acknowledge that. I mean, I'm a superstitious guy when it comes to my team. So, I was never going to say that. Now, to be fair, did I expect them to be winning 5-0 or whatever, 4-0 at halftime? No. And clearly they show that they're just a far better team and in a far better division than the Portuguese league currently is. And so, yeah, I mean, at this point, City's put themselves far into the driver's seat. I think it's fair to say that they should comfortably get by this tie, and they'll take the second leg to probably just play a couple youngsters that might not get as many minutes on a typical basis.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we came into the match thinking that City were going to dominate. Certainly not to the level of 5-0. But when we've seen this team playing at a high level, which they are at the moment, nobody really can beat them. They're just going to create chance after chance. And, when you have the front three, and Raheem Sterling's playing really well at the moment, obviously you have the likes of De Bruyne. And this is why when you talk about a guy like Jack Grealish, who hasn't really been at the levels we've seen over the last couple of seasons, it really doesn't mean much for Pep. So, yeah, obviously Mac's going to be a bit superstitious, but City will go through to the next round. I don't see, Sporting providing any much of a threat. We're going to have to do it at home, and they were unable to do so. So, City are the favorite to win this competition in my eyes. Still, there's obviously challengers like Liverpool, like PSG, like the likes of Bayern Munich. So, but an excellent performance, like we've mentioned, from City, exactly what you asked from them, from a City perspective. And I think, to me, they're still the ultimate favorite to win this competition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say at this point. I mean, City's great. It really just depends. We know City's going to get to the semifinal, right? the question is, when they get to the semifinal and possibly the final, is Pep going to overthink it? And it's literally what it comes down to at this point.
I really hope that he learns. I mean, okay, so like, let's say first 3 years at City, it was overthinking in like the quarters, right? He couldn't get past the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Last year it was he overthought it. He actually managed to play the best team every single time except for the final, where it matters most. So is he going to learn, right? You hope so. As a City, especially as a City fan, you hope that Pep is like, maybe playing Sterling and not playing Rodri in the final, although I played Rodri in every single game or every single important game out there, is probably not a good idea. So maybe he realizes that and changes some things up.
I think it was so funny that I literally said, I don't remember if it was on this show or when we were doing the wingers and defenders, Christian. I was like, yeah, Pep's going to come out and just not play a DM. Then he legitimately just came out and did not play a DM.
He played Max. Did he play Gundogan as the 6?
He did. Yeah, he did.
I just don't understand it because, like, if you look at that Chelsea team, they play on the counterattack. You need a DM there to defend against it. But
yeah, I know.
But anyway,
I think that's something that just will never get lived down.
It's really hard here. Yeah.
We need to let Max manage City in big games.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know how much help I can provide, but
let Sean Dyche coach.
Listen, drop everyone back, play long balls, and hope for the best. Maybe I have a 6-6 striker that could put some half chances away from me.
Yes, sir. Get Harry Kane. But let's move on to Bayern versus RB Salzburg, and Bayern here squeaked out a result, getting a draw. Salzburg was in control for most of that match. I don't know how many of us watched that match. I know there was a lot of other stuff going on, and we also have school too. So, but I mean, I didn't get to watch it. I kind of saw some of the highlights and followed along on Twitter while it was going on, because I just happen to have classes all the time during Champions League, which stinks. But I mean, I'll start this one off. I think Bayern gets through. I do. I don't think Salzburg is that good. I believe the next game will be in at Bayern, so I think that helps them. And they didn't have Neuer that game either. I don't know if Neuer will be back for the next round, the second leg. But overall, I wouldn't get too hung up on this result if I was a Bayern fan or a Bayern hater. I think Bayern's going to get it right, and we know. I think they'll come to a problem when they play a team like Liverpool or City, though.
Yeah, from what I was hearing, because that was going on during the Liverpool match, so I obviously was not watching it as well. But what I was hearing was Bayern just created a ton of chances, weren't able to punish them. And when you're talking about that being the away leg, when they go back to the Allianz Arena, I'm sure Lewandowski, Thomas Muller, Kingsley Coman, they're all going to find a way to get the ball in the back of the net. And very good result for Salzburg. I mean, they probably missed an opportunity with potentially getting a 1-0 victory at home, which would have been incredible, and probably something they could have hung on to. But now it's basically, a clean slate for both teams with no away leg goals, which obviously me and Joe talked about before the show, and something I don't like. But I think Salzburg will probably put up a good fight at the Allianz Arena, but I see Bayern winning comfortably, by 2 or 3 goals, just because of how dominant they are at home. I'm sure fans will be back in the arena. So, yeah, I think Bayern will get through. They'll figure it out. But like Joe mentioned, depending on who they play in the quarterfinal, if they get there, there are definitely some matchups that will provide a lot of problems for them.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. I think for sure Bayern should be favored, and Bayern will probably win by multiple goals at home. Where I disagree with Christian is actually, wait, Christian, did you say that you dislike taking out the away goals, or that you're in favor of it?
I don't like the fact that they took them away.
Okay, so we disagree on that, because I actually think the fact that they took the away goals makes this tie interesting, at least going into this game, because now you could argue, although it's a 1-1 and you would favor Bayern, if the away goals were a factor, Bayern would have a comfortable situation going into the second leg. And although I understand it's Bayern Munich, you'd still favor them. At least it still gives Salzburg more hope, because they managed to get at least a result at home. And to me, it just doesn't, and I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but the away goals, although it adds to the entertainment factor for sure, I just think it's not really merited. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me why away goals should weigh more than home goals. At that point, why not count goals as 2 points than one? To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I know they're trying to even things out, make things more interesting, especially for a team that's away from home in a European night. But to me, it's just not merited. I want to see the best team win, and I want them to earn it. And I just think an away goal situation, it just doesn't necessarily give me that. It makes things entertaining, but entertaining doesn't necessarily contribute to the overall product in terms of quality. So that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I get that. I'm a away goal fan, but I witnessed.
Oh, I know you are. I know for a fact you are, but I won't.
I have a lot of great memories with away goals. That's all I can say. A few European nights away that I
Look, I'll tell you this right now. If I were a Spurs fan, I would be the #1 away goal supporter out there. And I don't blame you at all in the slightest. So I will not hate you for it.
Spurs make top 4 challenge. Difficulty, insane, impossible. But that's for later. We have so much to talk about. But let's get into probably the game we all watched, the most entertaining matchup of it all this past weekend. PSG versus Real Madrid. And let me just get something real quick.
Max, I can already tell you what he's going to get.
The boy got the assist.
I think
he got the assist. What a sick backfield. We love it.
It was like one of those like Bruno Fernandes assists where like he just passes it like just to the guy beside him and he scores a screamer. So it's like, that's an assist on paper, but was it really an assist?
Mbappe did all the work, but
But I will say it was an impressive back heel. It was a nice little Neymar back heel.
Will he be there for the second leg, or will he be in Brazil with his sister celebrating her birthday?
Oh my!
Honestly, I might lean to birthday. I mean, listen, the history. If history is an indicator, then the birthday with the sister definitely takes priority over the second leg against Madrid. Come on.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But jokes aside, what did we think of this matchup? Christian, I'm gonna go with you first.
Yeah, and Max, I wasn't really referring to the Bayern match. This is the one where I was more, I guess, upset with the fact there was no away goals because I think Real Madrid would have played this match a lot differently if that was applied. But overall, Joe, who was definitely pleased with what happened, I thought PSG were excellent. They created so many chances. Kylian Mbappe was fantastic on the night. I mean, he was creating so many different opportunities. Obviously, got the goal at the end too. And obviously, with the rumors that he could be going to Real Madrid in the summer, it just created much more dynamism to the matchup and every storyline. So I think PSG are going to go through, even if, who knows what the situation is going to be like. I know Casemiro is going to miss the match. Ferland Mendy is going to miss it. Benzema is not 100% right now, but obviously 3 weeks' time could change a lot. So, PSG, who I thought, all season long have been pretty inconsistent, especially when we've seen them in the Champions League, especially in those 2 matches against Manchester City. They just looked, really like the second best that in both of those games. So I think when they play a team like Manchester City, when they play a team like Liverpool, somebody of that caliber, it might be a bit different. But Real Madrid, were outclassed that night, and I think PSG will go through when they face off again in about 3 weeks' time.
I agree with that last point. I would absolutely favor PSG. I just think that, Carlo Ancelotti, like you're alluding to, did not set up Madrid at all in a favorable way. I mean, that's just not how Madrid play. Madrid are, even without Cristiano Ronaldo or some of the players they had. I'm sorry, did I cut out? That some of the players are okay, good. Some of the players that they've had, in years past that contributed to their 3 Champions Leagues in a row. You'd still expect them to kind of go at PSG, even if it's in Paris, and give their defense something to think about. I don't even think they managed a shot on goal, maybe 1 shot on goal if the entire game. Benzema was a relative non-factor. Vinicius did absolutely nothing. That entire attack did nothing. It's like if you told me half the players were on the pitch, I would have said, I don't even remember them being there because they didn't do anything. But look, going into the PSG game, or talking about PSG side of this, Did they look excellent? Far from it, in my opinion. I don't think they looked very good at all, actually. Messi's a shell of what he used to be. That was a horrible penalty. Listen, credit to Courtois for the save, but that was just a straightforward penalty save, in my opinion.
Not that. Messi's been awful. He's been awful.
If his name wasn't Lionel Messi, he wouldn't be on the pitch.
No, he was awful that game. Like, you'd watch him, and you saw that free kick he took? He should have let Neymar take that free kick. It's bad. It's getting bad.
But you know what? I'm not gonna give him too much crap because, I mean, at the end of the day, he is the greatest player to ever grace the sport. And, Father Time's undefeated. So it was inevitable we were going to see a decline at some point, and it's crazy that it took him this long. So credit to Messi, but now it's not his time. It's now Mbappe's time. Mbappe proved to the world that you could argue he's the best player in the world right now. I'd
argue number 10 is the best player in the world.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I think that's a pretty easy argument to go around. But anyways, point is, I would argue that the only player that managed to do anything or show any passion for PSG that game was Mbappe. Obviously, he's the one that won them the penalty. He was the one that scored them the goal. But the runs he was making all game, some of the passes he was making, he just looked like someone that had something to prove. And maybe the fact that he was going against Madrid kind of lit that fire. He's like, I want to prove the team that I'm eventually going to go to why they need me. But no one else outside of Mbappe, who had a world-class performance, everyone looked lackluster. I mean, I just wasn't impressed by the PSG. I think if they play Bayern Munich again, I think Bayern Munich.
I thought Nuno Mendes was great.
Oh, Nuno Mendes, great player. Nuno Mendes, I'm a big fan.
He looked very good that game, in my opinion.
I don't know if that game, and maybe this is where we differ. I don't know if that game kind of proved that he's a world-class or great player, but I think if you look at his overall track record, like in general this year, he's had a fantastic season. So I don't know personally. I don't know
if that game alone proves he's a great player, but right. I thought he showed up that game. I thought he did a very good job.
Fair. I just think that there's been games out there that you can really point to and say, look, this guy is a very good player. Mm-hmm. But I think we both agree that he's been a very, very good addition for that team, and he's going to be a power or a great player to be dealt with, moving forward at that position. So that's my take on the game.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought that PSG is crazy. Also, update from Sean Dyche. So a little Sean Dyche Burnley update. They're fighting relegation. Workhorse just got a goal. They're up 1-0 against Brighton and Graham Potter right now. So just wanted to put that out there.
Is this the game, the England managerial campaign game?
Might be, man. It might be. Uh-oh. Max and I love both coaches, so this is like we're torn in this one.
This is a tough one for us, Joe. This is a tough one.
But back on topic, I thought PSG looked very good, and I think Christian makes a decent argument. Was Real Madrid kind of sitting back and saying, you know what, we don't need an away goal, let's try to stop. But I don't think that was the case, and I don't think Real Madrid would do that. So I think Pochettino, I mean, we know his success against Real Madrid is actually really good. He played them well when he was at Spurs, and he played them well now when he was with PSG. So I can't see Real Madrid coming back in the next tie. I just genuinely can't. I think overall PSG is just a much better team, and Mbappe looked legitimately like the best player on the planet, and he was fun to watch. And I've had my gripes with Mbappe in the past, but I think I'm shifting my gripes with this PSG team and Mbappe to Messi now. I really think Messi needs to get dropped from the team. I don't see how you can say Messi does more for PSG at this point than Angel Di Maria, Mbappe, and Neymar front three. I really don't think. I think Messi is a super sub at this point.
I was saying I think he does more than Neymar. But yeah.
You think he doesn't know? Oh, come on. Oh, oh, my soul. Neymar's that guy, man. I'm telling you, he's gonna come up big.
I don't know. I had to. That was like a little dig at Joe. That was just.
Of course. I would love to see PSG win the Champions League. I think that'd be sick. I really do. And did you hear the rumors that Mbappe may, in fact, be staying? He got offered a 1 million euro per week contract, and he's saying he might be considering it. Yeah, you heard that right, Christian DeBlock. €1 million.
€1 million pounds a week.
Yeah.
Goodness, I mean that's.
I would listen.
I would know what Real Madrid could offer him.
I'm not playing in that crap league. Listen, that league is so inferior compared to what the likes of Kylian Mbappe would be dealing with week in and week out. Obviously, the best league in the world is the Prem, but I mean, La Liga, I would say, still has far more competition than that French league. The French league is a developmental league. There's value in poaching players from that league if you're another club or clubs from other countries. But listen, Mbappe should not be playing against the likes of like Rennes or Lyon or any of these teams. Like, no. Kylian Mbappe, go to Madrid, be the star man, prove to everyone you're the best player in the world, and play at a very respectable competition. So
I don't know. Didn't Rennes just win the league last year?
No, Leo won it.
Leo did.
But Leo's in, I think, 11th this season. They haven't been very good.
They lost their manager, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
Yes,
Well,
who's
now
very good. Gaultier.
Isn't Nice second in the league? Because
Who
I'm
is?
Nice.
Yeah,
that's
Nice is in third because Marseille's in second.
Okay.
But yeah, Nice took Leo's manager, Gaultier, who got them the title, who's one of the best defensive coaches in Europe, from what his perception is.
If Pochettino wins the league and he wins Champions League, does he stay?
Yes.
Yes. If he wins the Champions League, he stays.
That'd be interesting. Because did you hear the reports coming out of Spurs that if Pochettino becomes a free agent and Conte leaves over the summer, which is apparently a rumor now, they're gonna go after Poch with everything they got. Not good.
They should have never sacked him.
Yeah, they should never get. If they get rid of Conte, it
wouldn't be that they get rid of him. It'd be more that he kind of just leaves.
Does he want to leave?
No, that's the rumor.
There's the rumors now because he's been saying a lot. He's been like, this team is awful. Like, what do you expect? You went to Spurs. I mean, I love Spurs, but like, come on. They got no one. You know what he said this week that really ticked off a lot of Spurs fans, and I guess this will lead into top four because Spurs are technically in the hunt, but I don't think it's going to happen. He said that we got rid of 4 players and only brought in 2 players. We didn't really do any.
Yeah, I remember him mentioning that.
It's like, Conte, you pushed the guys out. You told them to leave. You said, I don't want them on this team anymore. And then you only brought in 2 people. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Spurs are working on a budget, right? You can't expect them to bring in all these star players. I don't know. That moved me the wrong way because it's like, I don't know. It's like when you eat the cake, it's like, who ate all this cake? You. It's like, where'd the cake go? It's like the Patrick Star thing from SpongeBob when he was like, when he had the chocolate bar and he was questioning SpongeBob. Who you took my chocolate bar and he has all chocolate over his face. That's literally the situation with Conte. You kicked them out. You forced them out, and you didn't bring enough people in. That's your problem. Don't complain at the board for that. But anyway, that leads into top 4 and the Spurs City game, which is huge today. But let's first talk top 4. Arsenal right now are probably in the driver's seat to get that 4th spot and go back to Champions League. Do you think they hold out, or do you think they somehow choke it?
I think they're gonna. Go ahead, Max.
No, I was just gonna say you have to favor them, but honestly, don't even know who's going to be 4th spot right now. I just think that all of these clubs have the ability to kind of choke it, and I just don't know who I trust to get the job done, honestly, because we know that Arsenal have a track record of, although they're in the driver's seat, they still find a way to screw it up. You could argue we're seeing that with Spurs, but watch, Spurs are going to beat City or something right now or today, and then this changes everything. And United, although they haven't been looking good, when you have Cristiano Ronaldo on your team and he's scoring again, although it was just the last match, that makes a difference. So I'm interested to see how it plans out. But Christian, I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I would agree with Max on the point that Arsenal should be favored to finish in top 4. I just think over the last, 6 to 8 weeks, they've been the most consistent of the 4 teams that are really challenging for that, which would be West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, and Manchester United. I think Manchester United has a good chance if they can, put it together, which we've been saying all season long. But they have the quality to do it. West Ham, to me, is the team that I feel the least confident of the 4. I just think right now they're not in good form. I mean, they obviously have the Europa League to worry about as well.
They also have no games in hand. They also have no
which also is a good point to mention because Arsenal and Spurs still have games in hand on both of them.
And even United does. United has a game in hand on them, and they're currently in 4th. Arsenal has 3 games in hand, but they're in the middle of a game right now. And Tottenham has 4 games in hand on them.
Yeah,
And right
so
now,
I
West
think
Ham is fifth. So
yeah, and I think I didn't get a chance to watch West Ham Brighton this morning, or sorry, West Ham Newcastle. And obviously Newcastle was able to pick up a draw um, at the London Stadium. So I think right now for me it's Arsenal, but I think it's going to continue to be a topic to talk about over the next couple months because I think every week we're going to have a different story. But right now, if you ask me who's getting in top four, it's going to be Arsenal.
I agree. I think Arsenal has a pretty decent team. I don't think they make any noise in Champions League when they get there. I think they might get bounced, depending on the group they're in. They could get bounced and go right to Europa League. And that's not me trying to hate. Like I think the team. I don't know how to explain it. The team, if they bring in the right players, they can make noise. But as a team is constructed right now, the Premier League top four is not that like. It feels like my friend in a group chat makes this reference, and I think you guys would agree with this. It feels like the top four fight of 2018, 2019, where it felt like every top four team kept trying to choke it and didn't want it. It was like, no, you have top four. No, you have top four. Because Spurs had what 3 games in hand at one point, and it was like just win a couple of these games against Southampton and Wolves, and you're probably in the driver's seat for top four. They lost all of them. Arsenal had a terrible January. I think they scored like 1 goal throughout January or something like that. They didn't really do that well then. West Ham, we know West Ham kind of. They started off great, and now it's just like it doesn't seem like they're going to do anything. And Manchester United is another team where it's like they just can't get results. They can't get results no matter what. I mean, Ronaldo's missing open goals, so that would help them. Bruno Fernandes is hitting posts. It's like they don't want to win. So it feels like every team's trying to gift the other team top four. But I think Arteta might be the best coach in the top four flight. I mean, obviously you got Conte, but I mean he's not really. Spurs are in shambles right now. To be completely honest with you guys, they got the setup has been awful the past 2 games they've played. They've been running this 4-3. Oh, was it 5-2-3 or something like that? And the midfield has no stability. It's been pretty bad. So I'm just not convinced on them. Arsenal's the team I'm most convinced on, but it also feels like I don't know if you guys kind of get this feeling too. It feels like every month there's a new youngster that takes over for Arsenal, and no, there's not really a consistent youngster. You have Saka play good for a month, and then he kind of like takes a backseat to Gabriel Martinelli. Then Martinelli takes a backseat to ESR. Then ESR takes a backseat. It's like they don't have a consistent player, but they have a consistent group of players that'll come up at some point and do something. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. And I mean, I don't remember the 18-19 top four race vividly at the moment.
You were focusing on the title of Max. That's why.
Yeah, so I think that's a good way to put it because I don't think anybody's taken the fourth spot by grasp at all this season. It's changed, like you mentioned, from one team to another within 3 or 4 days. So I think, yeah, it's going to be tight. Arsenal are probably the team to take it, but yeah, in terms of the youngsters, that's a good thing to talk about because Martinelli's been good over the last couple months, but ESR was great over the first 2 or 3 months. So
Where's he been? Where's he been?
ESR?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's been coming a lot off the bench recently because Odegaard's been starting at the 10. So it changes a lot. But yeah, I think, the thing you mentioned, which is interesting, is the best manager of the four. Because I think, if you look at Conte as a manager just on the surface without even talking about the context of where he's coaching, it's him. But when you talk about the stability of Arsenal over, recent months, they look a lot more like they know what's the direction of the club versus Spurs. So I think I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, and then I guess Max, who do you think finishes top four?
Yeah, quickly, like I said, I think I would have to lean Arsenal, but wouldn't be shocked if there's a backdoor, backdoor Manchester United in there. I don't know why. I hate to admit that, but I feel like if there's a team that could shock everyone and kind of pull it off, it would be Manchester United. So I'll go Arsenal for now, but let's not forget about Manchester United.
You make a good point about United because I mean, how much we all put into XG expected goals. That's for each one of us to say, but they've been outperforming. They've been very good on expected goals. The problem is they've just had boneheaded plays by multiple people. Harry Maguire hasn't been good. Their backline's just been atrocious. De Gea has not been great either. I just feel like they've been bogged down by individual disaster classes in games, and at some point, XG is going to even itself out, and they're going to get their goals. So I wouldn't be surprised to see United pull off a top four. But speaking of teams in Manchester, City played today, and I know Christian is really rooting for a Spurs result because he still thinks that there's still a title race going on. I mean, if Spurs win, yeah, then there is. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, Norwich is playing us pretty well at Anfield right now, 37 minutes in, 0-0. So I hope we can get a goal, but besides the point, yeah, Spurs match from a Liverpool perspective is massive.
Max, how are you feeling for this game today? How are you feeling for, just City overall after a thumping of Sporting? Can they continue it going on, or will their team that kind of seemed like the bogey team for them recently in Spurs kind of best them?
Yeah, no, Spurs have definitely been a bogey team, but I would say that's especially evident when we go play at the Tottenham Stadium. We haven't won a single game since the Tottenham Stadium has been, since they've been playing in Tottenham Stadium. City's never won there. So that's for sure a bogey stadium. And that's like the new Anfield for us. So hopefully that doesn't continue much longer. But in this game, I have to lean City. But I do think that Spurs can make it much more competitive. I think that people are overrating how Spurs are. I think that Conte is capable of giving the world. Whether or not that results in points, I don't know. But I think he could at least give a game to City. And again, it depends on what version of Harry Kane you get as well. I think if Harry Kane decides to be lethal and prove to everyone that, I wanted to play here, but it's kind of like an that got me or whatever, paid for whatever obscene price Daniel Levy put on my head to get me, and then he goes and scores a brace or something. But outside of that, I think the way that City have been playing, they've been playing like the best team in the world right now. And I'm not even saying that to be biased. I just think you can't argue it if you look at the way they've been playing so far. And I think if they play anywhere near, I'm not saying I expect them to batter Spurs 5-0, but if you expect them to play like they have been just on a consistent basis in big games throughout the season, you have to expect them to win this game.
I don't see a way Spurs can win this game. They don't play well. In the Etihad, they don't play well except, that away goals game, in the Champions League quarterfinals a few years ago. But I had to reference the away goals right there. But the team tactically, Spurs haven't been that good, to be honest. Under Conte, the past 2 weeks they just haven't been good, and they don't have the right defense for it. And I honestly feel more confident playing with Jose Mourinho at the helm than I do with Conte right now. I think this could be a disastrous game, like a 3-0, 4-0 game. I don't know. I mean, Conte's been saying this team stinks too, which can be good for the morale. The Tottenham's offense hasn't been great. I mean, they've been, what is it, like, Kane has 5 league goals this year. Son is a purple patch merchant. He looks great at times, and other times he's a ghost. Kulusevski is not good. I'm going to be frank. He's been disappointing. I mean, I didn't really expect him to be that good.
Played, what, 2 games for you guys, though?
Not good. He doesn't look good enough.
Small sample size, though.
I know, but you have to rate him.
It's hard to judge him off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta give him a chance, though.
He missed a wide open goal the other day. That angered me.
It's not an Emerson situation where you could watch Emerson from one game and say this guy's clearly not good enough to play at a top.
You just reminded me that I got to watch Emerson Royale today. You reminded me that I have to watch him today.
It's going to be Emerson against Riyad Mahrez.
All right, I'm okay with Emerson defensively. The problem is offensively, he's one of the worst wingbacks I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, he's just bad. Just a bad wingback.
I will say, what's actually going to make a huge difference for City today is the fact that Kyle Walker didn't play midweek. Remember, Kyle Walker's suspended. So Kyle Walker can't play the next match. Actually, he can't play the next 2 matches of Champions League, which is absolutely ridiculous, but whatever. Point is, he didn't play midweek, so he's going to be starting today. That's huge. A healthy Kyle Walker, It's going to make things, especially with Son. He's probably going to be marking Son like that. We need that. We don't want Son loves to score goals against City, so we want to shut down.
Well, you know why that is, right? We know why Son loves to score goals against City.
No, I don't. Why is that?
So before the 2018-2019 Champions League quarterfinals, Pep Guardiola called Spurs the Harry Kane team.
Yeah, he did do that. That's right.
And then after Son scored at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the first leg, he goes up to the camera. He says, I forget exactly what he said. But he was like, I'm here or something like that. He's like, I'm like he took offense to that. And I think he has how many goals since then? He had a hat trick in that leg, like all together, 3 goals in that leg. He scored this year.
Yeah.
Against them. And he scored last year against them once too. So he's had at least 5 goals against City since then.
He loves scoring against City, bro. It's ridiculous. Like, stop scoring against us, please.
Him and Bergwijn. We need a Bergwijn start today. That would be electric. Oh, is City gonna play a false 9 again, you think?
I would think so. I think, well, in terms of options as a normal 9, you would have Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, of course.
Really not a 9.
They've been
Max broke up.
I mean, I'm assuming, Joe, you're referring to Gabriel Jesus as the only number 9, right?
Wait, can you hear me?
If you play him there.
Still cutting
They don't
out.
have Fernan Torres anymore either. And he would be that they don't have him anymore. He's at Barcelona, right? He went to Barcelona.
Who?
Fernan Torres.
Yes, Ferran Torres, yep. He's technically a 9 or be trying to become one. So, yeah, I don't see them. I think they'll start front 3 of Sterling, Foden, and Mahrez probably.
Mahrez, I like him as a false 9. Or they go cheeky and go Kevin De Bruyne false 9.
Works too, yeah, and that was effective. I remember
year.
that being really effective in the Leeds match when they won 7-0. So, yeah,
Leeds,
I think
Leeds
it doesn't really matter.
I think Leeds goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds goes down. I heard they're considering sacking Bielsa.
Yeah, I mean,
and Jesse Marsch. We referenced him for the U.S. national team. Jesse Marsch would be the guy I think they would hire if they. That's what reports are saying. If they sack Bielsa, Jesse Marsch is going to be the guy.
Yeah, Bielsa might get sacked. You might be right.
Can you guys hear me?
We're only on the table right now. Yes.
Yeah, you're better now.
Can you guys hear me now?
Max.
Are we good?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
my internet's being weird, but all I was saying is we were touching on City and Spurs, right? I just think I would like to see. Well, we were talking about the false 9 situation. Actually, I remember it's going to be probably Sterling, Foden, and Mahrez, and I think you're going to have De Bruyne there. De Bruyne usually, sometimes, at least in the beginning of the year, he would drift into the attack, but I think now you're going to see him more centrally. So I think, you're going to see any iteration of Mahrez, Sterling, and Foden for sure.
Yeah. And then before we close up, let's talk about Leeds real quick. I don't know if they go down, but Bielsa might be getting the sack, and they have not looked good this year. They got Manchester United tomorrow, who are probably going to smack them. I mean, we saw what happened in match week 1. Where
Burnley are up 2-0. Sorry, Burnley are up 2-0.
Burnley are up 2-0?
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, let's go. Yeah. This is what we want. We need Dyche and Burnley to stay up. This is great. I feel bad for Graham Potter, but we need Burnley up. They play proper football.
This is what the TWSN show lives for, because we love Graham Potter. We love Graham Potter, but hey, it's okay. We love you, Graham Potter, but this is what the TWSN show lives for. Okay,
or
the
Dyche
Sitdown,
somehow,
that's what
this
we live for.
leads to Potter somehow say Potter gets a sack. That opens up the door for the England national team, though. Think about that one.
Potter won't get sacked.
He won't get sacked. I know the fans are upset with him, though. Did you see that thing where they were booing Potter a couple months back?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know who they
so
drew to at home.
Like, who does Brighton think they are to boo Graham Potter? Who do they think they are?
That was when they were like in the top 6 race.
They were like, we should be top 4. Like, all right, buddy, calm down. You're Brighton. Like, you were not in the league. Like 4 years ago, you were not in the league. Not good. But let's see. Premier League standings right now. Burnley, they have a ton of games in hand. But with this, if they get this result, they'll be in 19th.
Are Burnley an attacking powerhouse? They're up 2-0 in the first half.
Well, you know, they always have these games. They always have these weird games where they'll beat a team 4-0, and it's just like, where did this come from?
Joe, I'm not saying it will happen, but if he manages to keep them up this year, he is a top 3 manager in the Prem, no questions asked.
Yeah, that team is not good. But I will say that Werko's signing is going to do wonders. I mean, you can't give Sean Dyche a 6'7" guy and just put him on top. Like, that's not fair. This is what he lives for.
Dude, this is
that is
the most
salivating
of all time.
Greatest manager of all time. Sean Dyche show at the end of the year when he keeps him up. We'll change the background. I'll make a nice little background. It's going to be Sean Dyche's face.
You know what? I'm going to start something, Joe. You know what? I just thought of something. I'm going to start something. Harry Maguire to Burnley. That is a Sean Dyche transfer. Give me Harry Maguire to Burnley. He's not good enough. No, what if it's Tarkowski and Harry Maguire? That is the most English back line that is like the most Brexit football back line I've ever seen in my life. Okay? Let's make it happen.
Where it goes up top,
too?
They're just going to win every header.
Dude.
They're going to win every header. Set pieces galore.
Incredible.
Needed.
Oh, man.
Needed.
Imagine
that team on a corner. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you defend that?
Double all 3 of them?
Someone's gonna get free at some point. Cornet's gonna score a screamer out of the box.
No way you defend it, bro.
We need a Cornet screamer from outside the box today.
That would complete the game.
That would.
Dude,
the second
goal? You should put Scott in their goal.
Brownhill scored.
Brownhill?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of their 8s.
This is proper Burnley ball too. Brighton has 63% possession, and Burnley only has 37. This is a masterclass by Sean Dyche. Absolutely.
That's one way to define it.
This is how he plays. 4-4-2. You got to break him down.
Yes.
You can't break him down. You're screwed. I remember watching the United Burnley game.
We love Graham Potter. This is not a shot at Graham Potter. We are just pro Sean Dyche. We're not anti Graham Potter. You have to stress that.
Yes. Potter's that guy, I'm telling you. He gets let down because his best finisher is Neil Maupay. Like, that's unfortunate.
And a washed Danny Welbeck.
And he'll score a screamer every once. He'll score a nice goal every once in a while. But please get Graham Potter a striker. Like, Brighton, please. Oh, that would be insane.
That'd be crazy.
But that'll wrap it up for this week's edition of the TWSN Soccer Sit-Down Show. Go Burnley. We'll be back to talk some more Champions League next week. And obviously, we'll see what happens in the top 4. We'll keep following that for the rest of the year. And we'll keep following the relegation battle on the Prem. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Get up, let me begin. This is